Okay, so it's been a while since I recorded any videos. New work schedule has been crazy, but I wanted to do this 2 days ago when I heard the news, but I'm just ready to do it today. So let me just do it. It's nothing too heavy, but the passing of Stanley. Now, to be honest, I was kind of prepared for this. Over the last couple of years, I would say about 5 years, because he was supposed to show up at a Comic Con event at my hometown, and my friend asked me, he was like, "Was he there? Was he there?" When I went to the event, and I'm like, "Nah." He said he couldn't show, he was sick, and we just started to talk like how he's old, and I was like, "Man, I really want to meet the guy." I don't get starstruck. I've seen a couple stars walk past me before certain places, especially in New York. But I really don't get too starstruck. I'm just like, hey, there's so and so. But I did want to meet the guy. He seems like a genuinely nice guy, and he's created a lot of the comic characters that I love. I've seen him. He's been around comics, television, magazines, movies. But the thing is, I knew he was getting up there in age, and he's been getting sick a lot lately this year. His wife passed not too long ago. I knew it was going to happen sooner or later. Me and my friend was talking about it. My friend James was talking about it 5 years ago. And he was just like, well, he's not going to be around forever. Yeah, no, so people are going to really feel it when he goes, especially the geek community, comic fans, and people who aren't comic fans, people who know him from the movies, or know who he is, what he's done. But yeah, I've been prepared for it. I knew it was going to happen soon, so, it was like the coming years or whatever. So it wasn't a big shock. It was just, oh, Stan's gone. The guy was just going through some trouble with his money and his estate and how it was handled and stuff. So, I first got into comics really young, like at the age of 4 or 5. Superman, the first superhero I was really introduced to and I got into, like most kids my age or guys younger than me. Also, it could have happened, but definitely people older than me. Superman, he was the most popular in the world for so long. And I used to collect Superman comics. But then it turned into me collecting Spider-Man and Hulk comics. And then it was Spider-Man and just straight up Spider-Man X-Men for a long time. But I did collect certain events like the Death and Return of Superman, all that stuff, Age of Apocalypse, Marvel fan, hardcore Marvel fan. DC, I just gravitate more towards Marvel when I was young, and I like there. And I didn't collect DC at all. I stopped collecting Superman comics, and I didn't collect any DC comics. But in my adulthood, I got into DC comics. I really did, and I wish I got into it when I was young. Just sometimes I didn't choose sides like, oh, I hate that. It's just I like Marvel comics better. But I remember when I was very young watching the Spider-Man and Amazing Friends cartoon, and old cartoons like that. It was so fun because you would hear Stanley's voice. You always knew his voice. You saw his pictures in the back of comics, see his name written on the front of comics, writer, editor, whatever. And he would have letters in comics and stuff. You see him pop up on television shows, cartoons, commercials. This is back in the 80s, 90s, when I was very young and a kid. Even in my late teens and stuff, when all the X-Men movies and all the superhero movies, Spider-Man movies, and he was making the cameos, Hulk. It was cool to see him. That's how my nephew, he was born when I was in my late teens, but he knows who Stanley is. It's crazy, and we actually got to be like 5 feet away from him at a Comic Con in San Diego, 2016. We didn't get a chance to meet him or get anything autographed because tickets are sold days in advance, and your first Comic Con, you realize, oh man, you got to get there on the Wednesday to get all the tickets for everything. It was crazy, but we tried to meet him. Wish I tried harder, but we were standing there 5-10 feet away, and I was like, man, he waved to us and he was like, hey, Stan, and I pulled my phone out. I was like, gotta record him. So I got video footage of that. But the guy, he's inspired so many people. There's a lot of people who got into comics because of him. A lot of people love comics. It's just comics. It's entertainment. And he's one of the most influential people in entertainment. He really is. There's a lot of history about him. And although he's gone, he was a person. But when you're famous and popular in the world, you tend to reach more people than the average person could. because of the media. You know, people get to see who you are, read about you, you get to express stuff, interviews. I mean, you got to realize what Stan Lee left behind. There's tons of interviews, footage, you know, letters he wrote, comics, all the stories he came up with, and the stories he wrote, and the history he wrote, and people who helped him create characters. There's so much out there. There's documentaries. There's going to be a movie about Stan Lee. It is. I think Leonardo DiCaprio wants to play Stan Lee, but there's going to be a movie about him. And he's in all these cameos in these movies. And there's like I said, tons of interviews, Tonight Show appearances, everything. There's a bunch of material on Stan Lee that's out there. And you can just bet the views on YouTube with all anything dealing with Stan Lee is going to go up. People are going to be posting more stuff about Stan Lee, stuff they never posted before, stuff they find. You know, there's millions and millions of people who have his autograph on things, who had him autograph comics. That's what I would have wanted, really. Amazing Fantasy, the issue when Spider-Man first appeared, 15. I would have liked to get an official copy of that. I have a reprint. Or my reprint and have Stan Lee sign it. I didn't get a chance to make that happen, but I was trying to in 2016 at San Diego Comic-Con, but I didn't get a chance to. But I would have liked to, you know, get that. You know, I really don't care about autographs, but Stan Lee, Spider-Man, favorite superhero. Stan Lee, I love all the characters he created. Lots of material on him. But he died. Yeah, he died. He knew it was coming to. It's just, he dedicated his life to being out there and showing people, making appearances. He didn't have to do half the stuff he did. You know, Kevin Smith became cool friends with him. I remember the first time I seen Mallrats, and I was like, oh my goodness, he got Stan Lee in his movie. What in the world? And finding out they became friends. And, you know, Kevin Smith's written comics before and everything. So it was just pretty cool. Stan Lee lived his life the way he wanted to in this imperfect world and this imperfect life that we live. And I think he was genuinely happy with what he done. You know, he wanted to reach people, and he always talked about how his superheroes, no matter what powers they have these superpowers, and they're superheroes and they're extraordinary, but he wanted them to respond to certain situations and events the way normal people would. You know, he tried to make his people relatable, but he was great at writing and creating these characters. He was great at that, man. And I love the things that he started. You know what I mean? So a lot of people thank Stan Lee for all the entertainment he's brought us over the years. I mean, yeah, it's sad anytime anybody dies, but you know, when you're watching somebody's life, everybody and collectively, people around the world all saw different stages of this person's life, and they're contributing to other people and the community and entertainment. And you feel it more because collectively is a bunch more people. It's like we're all family when we feel for him. That's what it feels like, you know. But yeah, that's it. I just wanted to talk about Stan Lee and the past. And oh man, I don't even remember the first time I saw his picture or found out who he was. I remember hearing his voice, seeing pictures of him, his name all over the place, and just always knew who Stan Lee was. It was really cool. But I'm glad he gave us all the comic book characters he gave us, especially like all the Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Iron Man, Black Panther, you know, all that. You know, it's pretty cool. But yeah, so expect to see. I'm going to look up some more footage of Stan Lee and stuff. I can never get enough of that man talking about why he created characters. He says the same thing over and over, and he always just explains. I love it. It's great. But yeah, it's pretty sad. But you know, like I said, I wasn't too shocked. I knew it was going to happen. But I'm thankful for all the entertainment he's provided me with and the characters he's created. You know, love him for that. That's it. Leave some comments if you want to talk about it. Stan Lee, I mean, we don't have to. This is just me sharing some of my feelings about this. Okay, see you next time.